Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Finn, Indiana's Attorney General's office has reported 48 complaints this past year related to tech support scams and 13 consumers falling victim to that. Microsoft, in your testimony, said believes this is one of the largest forms of fraud against consumers in the United States. Can you describe the scale of this problem from Microsoft's perspective?
Sure, Senator. I think, our indications are that the quantity of people who've been harmed is really way exceeds the sort of numbers of just the people who complain. The facts are that many people who've been victimized are too embarrassed, too ashamed to come forward. So complaint statistics alone are not the best indicator. In addition, a lot of the people who've been victimized don't even know they've been victims because they purchased something that they thought was solving a problem. Of course, it wasn't a problem at all. But we also have data that tells us that it's much, much larger. We believe that the number of people who are harmed is 3.3 million people annually at a cost of $1.5 billion. So that is the full statistics. But I can tell you, Senator, that just in the state of Indiana, I mentioned before that we can use big data and analytics to see some things that you can't just see through anecdotal and individual complaint reports. So in the state of Indiana, just in the last 90 days, from the top 6 companies that we believe are criminal organizations stealing from people, including many senior citizens around the country, there have been 245,000 times, individual times, that advertisements from these criminal organizations appeared to Indiana on the machines of Indiana residents.
And this is in a state with 6.6 million people.
Right. And that's just 90 days, and that's just on our search engine. So the facts are that the complaints are significant, and we can use that in criminal cases. But the opportunity here, as I've said before, is that if we harness the big data and analytic capability that Microsoft's Digital Crimes Unit feels we must, and that we're sharing with law enforcement, we really have an opportunity, I think, to do so much more in this space to protect people.
Well, let me ask you about this. Another woman from Indiana got a cold call, and it said there was a problem with your computer. She didn't have a computer, so she was able to deal with that. But for those who do, when that call comes in, what are some of the things you can do to detect that call, to deal with it, to handle it? What are some of the best recommendations that you have?
Well, the first thing is you get a call from someone that's unsolicited talking to you about technical support, hang up. That's the first thing. That is not a legitimate effort to sell anything to you. So that's the most important message I think, to people if they get that phone call: don't continue it, hang up. But we do know that people do sometimes have malicious software on their machines, and they may need help. And for that reason, we really suggest to them they contact Microsoft, they contact our customer support, they contact the manufacturer of the computing device, contact their customer support. And the fact is there are hundreds, thousands of reputable companies who provide technical support to people. And the guidance is simply just as if you have a problem with your car, and you want to go find a mechanic, you're careful about what mechanic you go to. You want to have someone you trust and you've heard is a good mechanic, an honest one. I'd say the same thing goes for finding help with your technical
Well, let me ask you this. Back in about a year ago in August of 14, I held a field hearing back in Indiana on scams against seniors. And we have a great group in our state, and I know other states do too, the Senior Medicare Patrol Program, to try to help seniors to avoid these kind of things. And so this would be to the whole panel. What is your best recommendation, what you found to be the most productive, most helpful in trying to warn seniors of what might be coming down the line in terms of scams against them, what to look out for, what to deal with? And Mr. Schiller, I want to thank you for being here, for spending this time to be with us today, because you're telling us your situation that you found yourself in is going to help someone else to not have to deal with that. And that's what people from Maine do, isn't it, Madam Chair? Yeah. If anybody would like to tell us, hey, here's here's my best recommendation for our seniors as to how to avoid these kind of things. And if one starts on their phone or in their computer, what to do next. Ms. Greisman?
Yes, thank you. What Mr. Finn said is absolutely right. Hang up and file a complaint with whatever information you may have received. The FTC's done a lot of research on how to best communicate with older consumers, and that's what Pass It On is really a product of. And what we found is that it's important to empower seniors to assist their friends and families and not feel victimized or feel that they're, or for some reason, vulnerable. On the contrary, to make them feel like they are in the best position to ward off a scam.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.